your forecast first on Local 22 News.
Good Saturday night, everyone. Now a degree below freezing in Burlington. That cooler air really starting to usher in here with winds very breezy out of the north, around 21 miles per hour right now. That high today was 40 degrees, still a little bit warmer than average out there. Temperatures now in the 30s, even the 20s in portions of the Northeast Kingdom and portions of the North Country. 24 right now in Saranac Lake. 24 to 30, I should say, in St. Jay. We are seeing a few snow showers still lingering out there. Most of that steadier snow in portions of New Hampshire. I'll let you know when this moves out of here and who could see some additional snowfall coming up. Local 22 News starts right now.
This is Local 22 News at 11.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Devin Bates, filling in for Mike Hoey tonight. Well, we begin with the latest coronavirus numbers in our region. 127 new cases in Vermont, 33 of those in Chittenden County, 25 in Washington, 14 in Windsor, 11 in Orange County. There's also 8 new cases in Orleans County, Franklin County, and Addison County, 6 in Caledonia, 5 in Bennington, 3 in Windham and Rutland, and 2 in Lamoille County. Meanwhile, in New Hampshire's Upper Valley, 12 new infections in Grafton County, 6 in Sullivan, 7 new deaths in the Granite State, 457 new cases statewide, and in New York's North Country, no updates available tonight from Clinton, Essex, or Franklin counties. Well, a rally today at the state capitol began with a message of unity, but ended with an altercation. Local 22's Alex Ladstatter has more.
I'm here in Montpelier where a group of folks have gathered in support of President Donald Trump, and while I was reporting here, a small altercation broke out between the crowd, resulting in a minor injury of one.
The rally on the front steps of the State House is the result of a culmination of parades and other smaller gatherings across the state and the nation. Vermont organizer Gregory Thayer says the president has worked for the people of Vermont.
President Trump has done great things for Vermonters and America, and that there's a lot of positive energy. He's definitely a brutal truth, direct individual, but he has come through on his promises.
Kevin Hoyt ran for governor this year and tells me he is not satisfied with how the election turned out and claims that there is rampant voter fraud.
I think it's massive fraud here in Vermont. We've been dealing with it for a long time, and I hold the establishment, the current establishment and administration guilty as far as the gubernatorial election.
The otherwise peaceful rally was interrupted by a young woman who brought a small speaker to play music, and an altercation occurred.
And a bunch of grown men started screaming at me and actually shoved me off the concrete and then circled around me and started screaming USA in my face while shoving me over repeatedly.
I reached out to the Montpelier police, who say they are investigating other reports of minor altercations from the rally, but have no comment at this time.
I'm Alex Ladstatter, Local 44 News, Montpelier.
And as that was happening, Vermont House Democrats elected new leadership for the upcoming legislative session. House Majority Leader Jill Krawinski of Burlington will take the gavel in January and replace outgoing House Speaker Mitzi Johnson. Windham County Representative Emily Long will take on Krawinski's former role as House Majority Leader. Now, the focus of Saturday's nominating caucus, of course, was the challenges ahead in recovering from the financial impact of the pandemic.
Today is about where we go from here, how we lead, the bridges that we build. Now, more than ever, Vermonters need us engaged, connected, and understanding their greatest needs if we are to build a stronger future together.
Krawinski was first elected to the House in 2012. Prior to that, she worked at Planned Parenthood of Northern New England as Vice President of Education and Community Affairs. She's also served as Commissioner of the Fletcher Free Library in Burlington, as well as Vice Chair of the Healthcare Oversight Committee and Chair of the Vermont Poverty Council. And Burlington progressives gathered for a virtual rally today as their recently nominated mayoral candidate formally launched his campaign. City Council President Max Tracy will look to unseat Democratic Mayor Moreau Weinberger. There's also 4 city council seats to be decided on town meeting day. 2 of those currently held by Democrats and 2 by progressives. Today, Tracy looked to energize the party while laying out what he believes is at stake in this race.
We have so much to do. I've always believed that no single person is qualified or skilled enough to do it all on their own. As mayor, I will harness the collective expertise of leaders like Councilor Pine and people across our city. After all, our neighbors know what needs to be done.
Mayor Weinberger is seeking a fourth term in office. Burlington Democrats will hold their nominating caucus remotely on Sunday. And state police are looking for a suspect in an armed robbery. Officers say a man with a gun entered the Irving Oil gas station on Route 78 in Highgate just before 11 last night. He ordered the clerk to open the cash register, and the suspect is described as about 5'3", weighing 160 pounds. He was wearing blue jeans, white and black sneakers, black gloves, a black winter cap, and a black mask. He was also wearing a gray hooded sweatshirt with black stripes on the sleeves and a red U.S. Polo Association emblem on the front. Anyone with any information is asked to call the State Police Barracks in St. Albans. And we'll hope you join Lauren Maloney tomorrow for a look at what matters this week. 2020 wraps up with serious stresses, a deadly pandemic, economic unknowns, and holiday anxieties. But there is help available. She'll tell you how counselors from COVID Support VT are just a phone call away. Join Lauren tomorrow night at 10:30 on Local 44 News. And coming up, movie critic Dean Richards has the lowdown on 3 biopics currently playing on streaming services.
You're watching local news that matters with Mike Hoey, meteorologist Dylan DeBruin, and sports with Frank DeLuca. This is Local 22 News. Local news that matters on Local 22 News.
Well, in the words of one Hollywood movie producer, the pandemic has shaken the movie business to its bones. He thinks studios will have to make some big changes if they want to compete with streaming services like Netflix. The pandemic has also changed the way movie reviewers operate. Tonight, Local 22's Dean Richards looks at 3 movies now showing via, where else, the internet.
I need you to wait for me, okay? You're it for me, Lou. You're my heart. You're it for me, okay? You gotta wait for me.
If you're not into heavy metal music at all, the first 10 minutes of the film Sound of Metal might really put you off, but be patient with it. It introduces you to Ruben and Lou's high decibel metal band. While their music is blasting, you learn about their relationship and lifestyle and addictions, and the fact that Ruben's hearing is beginning to fade on him. That takes them to a rehab center for people who are hearing impaired. And this is where the movie takes a turn as one of the best of the year. Sound of Metal revolves around an Oscar-worthy performance by Riz Ahmed, who goes from addicted musician to musician losing the one thing that he cherishes, his hearing. At the same time, he's forced to let go of the crutch that he's depended on all of his life, drugs. It's an amazing insight, not only into this one person's torture and fears, but also into the world of deaf people that society can sometimes choose to ignore. The movie is filled with touching performances, including Olivia Cooke as the girlfriend that he's forced to leave behind in order to be admitted into the rehab center, and also Chicago-born actor Paul Raci, who runs the rehab center and is stellar as the tough love guide through Ruben's tear-jerking, inspiring journey. This movie is beautifully shot, and pay attention to the use of sound in this movie that'll put you into the shoes of what a deaf person goes through. Sound of Metal is a Dean's List A and is streaming now on Amazon Prime.
Ready and willing to hunt the great white whale?
Just call me Ahab. Do come in.
At this rate, you will never finish.
You said 90 days. Well, said 60. I'm doing the best I can.
Also new this weekend is another film likely to get a lot of attention at Oscar time called Mank. It's a black and white telling of the real-life famed screenwriter Herman J. Mankiewicz and his tortured, alcohol-filled days while he wrote what some consider to be the greatest film of all time, Citizen Kane. Gary Oldman is amazing in his transformation in this story of 1930s Hollywood, including many of its real-life players, Orson Welles, William Randolph Hearst, and his plaything, actress Marion Davies, among others. The nuanced performances, the stunning photography, and deep, dark dive into Hollywood history will delight cinephiles and industry types. But I think the emphasis on all this style was at the expense of a cohesive, relatable story. I give it a Dean's List B-. You can see it on Netflix. And for fans of the late singer Selena, there is the new 9-episode Selena the series. The Walking Dead's Christian Serratos takes on the title role, once played by Jennifer Lopez, taking you through Selena's early years, her stardom, and ultimate tragedy. It debuts on Netflix this weekend. In Chicago, I'm Dean Richards.
Well, another mysterious monolith has appeared out west. You got to be on the lookout. Coming up, where the latest structure was found and what people are saying about it.
And that snowfall moving out of here now. We're seeing temperatures now below freezing in many spots, so maybe a little slick out there. I'll let you know when that starts to move out of here coming up.
Local news that matters on Local 22 News. Now your Sky Tracker forecast with meteorologist Dylan DeBruin.
Good Saturday night, everyone. Temperatures continue to fall with those winds pretty breezy now out of the north, 21 miles per hour in Burlington. We're sitting at 31 degrees. That high today was 40, still a little bit warmer than average, but we are looking at some breezy conditions really remaining for us into tomorrow, and that's drawing in the cooler temperatures, but still a little bit of snow out there. We do have winter weather advisories in place for portions of the Northeast Kingdom. Winter storm warnings still in place for New Hampshire, Essex County in Vermont as well. We are looking at conditions starting to dry out. You can see that low pressure system now in the Gulf of Maine, some of that snowfall lingering off behind it, and we are going to again start to dry out. Current radar loop zooming in here does show still a few showers even in central portions of Vermont, but really little to no accumulation expected there. Future tracker shows this pulling away from the region as we head through tonight. You can see by tomorrow morning still a few of those snow showers, especially in the Northeast Kingdom. That's where we're still watching that potential for some additional snowfall accumulation. You can see most of it though centered mainly in portions of Maine and New Hampshire. So we are in the clear per se in portions of the Champlain Valley and northern New York. We are not seeing any snowfall accumulation tonight, again mainly in eastern Vermont and New Hampshire. We're going to be in the 20s though as we wake up early tomorrow morning. Keep that in mind. You're going to want that winter jacket. We do stay chilly with winds making it feel even colder out there. Tomorrow we are dry but holding on to the cloud cover. That changes as we head into Monday. Temperatures tomorrow only peak pretty much right where they are right now in the lower 30s. We're even stuck in the upper 20s in a few spots. Those winds still howling out of the north, 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusts up to 30, not out of the question. Now, as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday, not much going on Future Tracker. You can see that next weaker disturbance off towards the north and west. That's going to bring maybe a few showers out there as we head towards Wednesday evening and early Thursday in the form of some rain and some snow showers, because temperatures do warm a little bit as we head towards late in your work week. By Thursday and Friday, we're back near 40 degrees. Overnight lows the next few nights, though, going to be on the chillier side. Definitely more December-like weather here, like we should be dealing with this time of year. Back above average, though, by next weekend as our next disturbance rolls in. If you want the latest check on that forecast, though, you can always find it on our website, mychamplainvalley.com, and click on that weather tab. So really no snow here in the Champlain Valley. I'm happy about it. I am ready for kind of a bigger snowstorm, but we have a long winter season ahead.
Yeah, and you know, I hate when it's just cold out, but you don't really get the snow with it too.
Yeah.
But that breeze is starting to feel really cold too.
For sure.
Is it a breeze? It's more of a gust.
Yeah, I would call it a gust.
Kind of,
but
kind of aggressive.
Either way, it always comes in very unwelcome in December.
know.
Like you forget how it can just like pierce right through you.
That's
No
why I'm
doubt.
glad I have my car starter ready to go once you're stepping out the door. So it's definitely that time of year.
And it's getting cold out there on the football field too, Frank. Season's starting to wind down.
No doubt, just like 4 weeks left. Still a chance for the Pats to sneak into the postseason. Coming up, find out what it'll take for the Patriots to keep those hopes alive tomorrow, taking on the Chargers.
Local news that matters on Local 22 News. Now, Local 22 Sports with Frank DeLuca.
What's going on, everybody? Patriots and Chargers don't meet that often, but this season's matchup is especially interesting. LA playing its first season without QB Phillip Rivers in 16 years. New England without Tom Brady for the first time in 20. Yanni Kourakis and Andy Gresh break down the new QB battle in tonight's edition of New England Nation.
We're getting you ready for Patriots and Chargers. All right, Bill Belichick, rookie quarterback, even one as talented as Justin Herbert. Do you think Belichick and the D will give him fits?
I do at times, Johnny, because they're going to be able to disguise coverage, and that's where the multiple safety looks for the Patriots really come into play. How do you identify Kyle Duggar? Is he really playing on the back end behind Devin McCourty, or is he in that Adrian Phillips role where you move him up closer to the line of scrimmage? And I think with Phillips and Duggar, those are the pieces that you'd like to try to move around the board a little bit. You can ask McCourty to do anything, and on the whole, he's going to be okay. But how many different looks in terms of in between the hashes and with the safeties can they give Justin Herbert? Because the one thing we do know is that Anthony Lynn has brought, the coach of the Chargers has brought them to this point, but they've hit their ceiling with him, and I don't trust that guy to be able to get a rookie quarterback ready against old Bill B. Hoodsworth sitting there in the lab thinking, oh, all the ways I can mess with this young kid.
Chargers have lost a lot of close games this year. When the Pats are on offense, they did not move the ball well against Arizona. All their points coming off really good field position. How do they improve in that area?
Well, it's got to start with the run game, number one, and they got to get some efficiency out of the quarterback throwing the ball. And the thing he can't do, Cam can't turn it over. Look, ball gets deflected at the line of scrimmage. Okay, that's one thing. You can live with that. That cold bird interception he threw in the fourth quarter where his feet were pointing in different directions and it was like going like this and throwing the ball. I mean, his mechanics are like a 5-year-old sometimes throwing the football in your living room. I'm really serious about that. Like, people think that's harsh, but it's true. You look at Tom Brady and the mechanics and the way he played the position and Cam Newton. It's not even night and day. It's like different galaxies in terms of the way they play the position. That guy can't turn it over and be sloppy with his mechanics and fling it going the other way.
Who wins and what's the score?
Boy, that's a tough one because you can make the argument that both these teams should be 5-6 or even 6-5, both of them. I have a funny feeling, though, the Chargers are going to find a way to keep it close, and then they'll soil themselves in the end. So I'll go, 27-23. Patriots beat the Chargers. There is a chance this could turn into a high-scoring game.
Oh, I like that.
Meanwhile, Giants leading the NFC East, but tomorrow will be their toughest test in quite a while. On top of that, they'll most likely have to take on the Seahawks without Daniel Jones. Instead, we might see another Daniel in his place, but you might know him as Colt. Offseason signing Colt McCoy is set to make the start if Jones is ruled out. McCoy, 10 years in the league, 28 career starts, but just 7 wins as a starter. One of those wins against the Seahawks. The only catch, it was a pre-Russell Wilson-led squad in 2011, and the final score, an unremarkable 6-3 Cleveland Browns victory. As for tomorrow's contest, kickoff in Seattle set for 4:05 Eastern. Seahawks currently about a 10.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I know the Patriots, it's weird seeing them in this position, and I hear people kind of saying, Belichick might be able to scheme around Justin Herbert just because he's such a great coach, but the tools aren't really there as much this year.
Yeah, it's definitely been a season where they have some similarities. Both have kind of fallen victim or benefited from some close games. On LA's side, more have fallen victim to those close games, especially in the early stages of the season. The Patriots have shown good signs when Cam doesn't turn the ball over. And their defense, and it's very rare, especially in clutch moments, and their defense has really done a good job keeping games close and keeping them in the game when maybe they shouldn't be. So if the Pats win tomorrow, it's going to be a mixture of Cam having a little bit better ball security and the defense coming up big as they most often do.
Yeah, it should be a fun NFL weekend. Big fantasy weekend, too. Fantasy football this weekend is going to be a lot of people watching.
Is it playoffs yet?
This is the week before playoffs, so a lot to be decided in a lot of these leagues.
Good luck.
Thanks, Frank. Coming up, we'll have a final check of your forecast, and we'll tell you about tacos.
Local news that matters on Local 22 News. local news that matters on Local 22 News.
Well, another one of those mysterious chrome monoliths has appeared, and I actually had not heard about this before. This one showed up outside a taco shop in Boulder, Colorado, rudely uninvited. The three-sided stainless steel structure was first discovered in a remote part of the Utah desert since last November, so watch out, they're coming east. Since then, copycats have appeared in Las Vegas and an aircraft services facility, and now the taco stand is the latest destination. Nobody knows where they're coming from, but some residents say it's fun to have something to talk about besides the pandemic. Where do you guys stand on giant steel monoliths?
I don't know.
Once we find out their purpose, I'll have an answer.
It's got to be like some company's like marketing campaign or something. Like I feel like that always happens. Like 3 months later, we'll find out. Like, oh, it was.
It's
Taco
probably
Bell.
like IHOP or something when they just wanted to sell burgers. Who knows? We'll find out.
It's always IHOP.
Yeah, right. Oh, the B at the end that they had there for a while. Speaking of B, it is very cold out. That was a lame joke. It's okay. But
a little
yeah,
breezy too. So just hold that hat, grab the jacket. You'll be fine tomorrow.
All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Have a good weekend.